Hi everyone, it's Sasha and Suzy from Women's Fight News.
Okay.
We're back. I feel like we're becoming like a bit like glory hunters, like only back for the big ones.
Yeah. We need to be more regular again.
Yeah, we'll try. But again, it's such a big fight that's just happened. Like we weren't missing this one.
No,
And it
definitely
was
not.
good.
Especially with all the controversy.
Yeah, as always, I feel like it's quite rare though, isn't it, that we'll have a fight that doesn't have controversy.
Yeah.
Um, I think even the Katie Taylor Chantel Cameron one that was slightly controversial. This is the first like big female fight of the year, obviously. I think everyone was looking forward to it,
Yeah.
and I would definitely say it lived up to the hype. Take away the scorecard, we'll talk about the fight first. It lived up, didn't it?
Yes. It was much better than I thought it was even going to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to be a good fight anyway, but it was even
Yeah,
better.
yeah, it was good. I think I always knew it would be a good fight. It was gonna have to be with them two. Hi, Jack. But yeah, probably did exceed expectations, but the bar was set high. I think they set it high for themselves as well. They were talking all week about
Yeah.
how it was gonna be a great fight, styles make fights. They obviously had a lot of respect for each other in the build-up, which I always quite prefer. I just feel like it's genuinely more entertaining when you go into the ring and they've actually had that respect. I actually think it's a better sell because you then know you're talking about a genuine 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of when they're trying to put down other fighters, because then it doesn't sell as well, in my opinion, unless it's genuine.
Mm.
Like the Mikaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner, that was entertaining because it was
Yeah.
so real.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't mind that.
When it's fake, you just think, oh no.
Yeah, and it's just dead cringy and it just doesn't really sell it for me. So I really enjoyed the build up for this one. Um, but it was all about when they got in the ring and it was so good. And the atmosphere in Liverpool
Yeah.
was unbelievable. It was
It,
so,
it,
so good.
it looked amazing on the TV.
It was really good. And you know what? I think they said it sold out about 7,000, which for recent times at the M&S Arena is a lot. It was virtually all sold out. There was two little bits at the side that were blacked out. But I've been to so many fights in the last few years at the M&S Arena where the whole top tier is just curtained off. So it was nice to see it with 7,000 people. Obviously, the majority Liverpool people. There was obviously a lot of Scousers on the card. I know quite a lot of the younger fighters had done well selling tickets. But clearly everyone was there for Tasha, as you could hear. With it was weird hearing Mikaela Mayer be booed.
Because she's such a popular fighter.
It was weird. Didn't like it. She doesn't suit being booed, but I'm sure she didn't really care.
Well, she comes again. I don't think she'll be booed the second time.
No, I think there was a lot of respect for her. Obviously, I think if fans hadn't seen a fight before, I think you can have nothing but respect for her after, can you?
No, exactly.
Um, let's start with then like kind of the fight. How did you see it from like start to finish? Who started stronger? Because I've even got like mixed opinions on this actually.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I didn't score it exactly. I didn't go round for round when I first. I've watched it since and scored it, but at the time I didn't. So just sort of going on how I visually watching it felt, I felt that Mayer just edged it. So I would say sort of close, sort of 96, 94 kind of edged. I thought, actually, funny enough, I went against the grain. I thought Mikaela started off stronger. I thought the first
Oh
round.
yeah, we disagreed, didn't we?
Yeah. But it feels like most people thought it was the other way around. But I've watched it again, and I still feel like Mayer was best
Do
in the.
you still give Mikaela Mayer the first round?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I do.
No comment. You're wrong, but okay.
But do you know what? I think sometimes it is about what styles you do like, and sometimes as well, because the rounds were very close at times,
Yeah.
and there have been some really respected, boxing people in the boxing world that have it towards Jonas, and they're very respectable. So I do think sometimes it is what you see in a round. What I preferred is I like Mayer's the way she was always coming forward, her sort of ring generalship. I liked all that, and I think probably that's why sometimes she probably edged it more for me.
Mm.
Whereas I guess some people might like the Jonas's style more, but it's probably that's what I liked in round one, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do have Mayo winning, but I can't have a having the first round. Kind of how I saw it was, especially on the night, the momentum shifted every round. So I had Tasha the first round, Maya the second, Tasha the third, Maya the fourth. And then I have the fifth round very close, and I swing it to Mikaela Mayer, but you can't argue either way. But then after that, I thought Mikaela, bar one round, ran away with it then. And that
Mm.
was me watching it live, and then obviously there's mixed opinions, like I'm talking I mean, to you who scored it the opposite to me in the first round, and then you're looking on Twitter, some people had it a draw. So I've been so excited to watch it back because it was quite similar to when we watched Mikaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner live, and at that time when I watched it, I thought Mikaela was being robbed. I had it like 8-2.
Yeah, because we were stood together, weren't we? And I
Yeah, and we
agreed.
were both furious because we were like, "No," but even the whole crowd, to be fair, it was nothing against Alicia Baumgartner, it's just how you see it on the night, and I think the whole crowd saw Mikaela Mayer winning. Then I watched it back. I still have Mikaela winning, but you can see how Alicia also could win. But
Mm.
it was still quite different watching it, so I was so excited to watch it back, and I've watched it back this evening, and I just still score it the identical to how I did on the night, like, the exact same rounds I've given. Um I just struggled to see it any other way, especially in the second half of the fight. I don't quite know where Tasha's got some of the rounds from.
I scored it this time. I scored it even wider for Maya when I rewatched it.
Okay.
So I gave 3 rounds to Natasha Jonas when I watched it back, and
Yeah, so you have it the same as me.
I think it was like round 3 I gave to Tasha, and then I gave her sort of round 8, 9.
Oh.
I'm a little bit different with how you're looking at it.
Yeah, because I'm just looking here because 'cause I've just written notes, and I gave, it was round 8 I gave Tasha
Yeah.
as well. So I gave her rounds 1, 3, and 8, I gave Tasha. I thought Mikaela finished so strong, like, there's no argument for her to have
Oh
round
yeah.
10.
Oh yeah, definitely. She was a really strong round 10. Um, I think because we only alter in 2 then, so round 1 and around 9. But to be fair, when you look at those rounds, because there are a couple of rounds I've really watched probably more than once actually, they are
Yeah.
very tight rounds. So you can see how people see things differently.
I do want you to watch round 1 again because 'cause I'm still not having it, but I'll let you I'll let you off for now.
Round,
Jacka.
we agree with that. Both of us agree at 8.
Yeah, round 8 I definitely gave
Natasha.
Tasha, but it was a good fight. We've got some other people, 96, 94 Maya, and that was from ringside, yeah. See, I'm quite interested, what did Jack have it? 96, 95 Tasha, which was one of the scorecards as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the judges scored it 97, 93 to Mikaela, and I'm dying to know what side of the ring they sat on and whether it was the same side as me.
Yeah.
Because I do think and I always say it, when you are ringside, as amazing as it is, there's always like a percentage of the ring that you can't quite see.
Yeah.
And if you've got your back to the road, they've got their back on the ropes, you cannot see what they're landing all
Hmm.
the time. There's certain little pockets of the ring that I think can be tough. I think Jake Paul's mentioned having like the tennis umpire chairs, that with the height above the net. And I actually, apart from obstructing the view for fans, I think would work quite well. I thought that was a good shout. But I would love to know what side of the ring that judge was sitting on for 97, 93. But it is one of them, like, there's so many different scores out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
That it can't be a robbery.
No, no, and that's what I feel. The matter that I scored it 96, 94, and then 97, 93 to Maya, I can still see other people's scores because they
Yeah.
ran so tight. So again, like you say, I can't possibly call it a robbery either because it was that close at times.
Yeah, and typically I would be like, if it was 97, 93, sometimes I am like, it's not a robbery, but there has been a clear winner. But then I do have a round that could have been even. I just hate scoring even rounds, and I've slightly edged it to Mikaela because I probably prefer her style of boxing. So naturally, I'll swing that round to her. And there was probably another round, whether it was round 8 or 9, I can't remember, another very close round that potentially could go either way. So you can see it quickly going from 7-3 to 6-4 to potentially at a push 5 all.
Which is probably 9 because which I gave to Tasha. So
Okay, yeah,
very
potentially, yeah.
close
So
that
you're
round.
then looking at potentially going from 7-3 to, like I say, 6-4
Yeah.
or I mean 6-5 is quite a good shout with an even round as well. So it's not a
Yeah.
robbery, it's just disappointing, isn't it? I'm sure when you're on the losing side of it.
Yeah. And I do feel for Maya, because it's I wrote on Twitter, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, about how disappointing it is for her, because she's got her record now that's set. It doesn't tell the full picture,
Yeah.
because she's right up there with Alicia and Tasha and everyone. She could have gone for undisputed. She could be 2-time world champion, and it's just that these little things that happen that could have been so different on a different night or with different judges, it just didn't go away.
It's one of them, isn't it? I think I liked what Mikaela was saying, the whole build up of it's not even necessarily about the belts now, it's about the big fight. She knew it was going to be a challenge coming to Liverpool. I think there was easier fights that Mikaela could have had if she was wanting to protect her record. Obviously, she's only got the one loss to Alicia Bargardner, which again was controversial. To have 2 losses on your record to Alicia Bargardner, may become undisputed. Tasha Jonas, who's a 2-weight world champion, and again, both controversial. Like I say, for a casual fan, if they had no idea, okay, 2 losses. But I think to everyone who's watches boxing, them 2 losses, wouldn't happily have them on my record, because obviously you want to win all the fights, but I'd take that any day over a load of shitty fights that you just end up doing for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And I actually think it could go either way for Mikaela now. It's a bit of a funny situation because, like Tasha said at the end of the fight, she is one of the top 2 opponents that Tasha's fought. So I'm presuming it's going to go Katie Taylor, Mikaela Mayer.
Yeah.
Mikaela Mayer showed that she is one of the best female boxers out there, world title or not. There's no question. She's one of the best out there, and I think she beats the majority of people that she could potentially face. And I think the ones that she wouldn't, not that she wouldn't beat, I then think there's ones that she'd be 50-50 with. Like, she's always wanted the Katie Taylor fight. I think prior to last or Saturday, I probably would have tipped Katie Taylor. Whereas now, after that fight and seeing her performance, you would say Mikaela Mayer's got a great chance of beating someone like Katie Taylor. She, it would be a great fight against like a Chantel Cameron. So she's, literally anyone, any of the top girls, like she is well up there where she's capable, I think, of beating anyone. So it's one of them. Like, I think without the belt, she brings value to a fight. I think she brings a big payday. The issue you've got is, like, if you're a world title holder, do you even entertain facing someone that good? It's not like you can be your own worst enemy at times, can't you?
Yeah, that's it, and that's the toss up. Do they want to have a big name in Mikaela Mayer, but it might bring more money? They might get more value from the fight against her, but like you say, it's a high risk, low reward in terms of belts and things. But then you get the respect of Mikaela, because Mikaela Mayer's right up there. So only time will tell to see who will take her on. I can imagine Ryan taking her on. I can imagine. There's a few around the weights, I think, that would like the fight no matter what.
I think there's definitely fighters out there that would just have the fight, and I think that's what I liked about Mikaela, what she was saying because we know she's a world level fighter. There's no question, is that sometimes I think the belts can be a hindrance. You see with Nina Hughes, for example, she was having quite a decent career and getting fights and whatnot. She becomes a world champion and she cannot get a fight. Now it's a slightly different situation because I know Nina's age always plays a factor for some reason. But then you do have to face the likes of your mandatories. And we have seen Mikaela Mayer when she's not had that high level opponent. She does win, but it's not the Mikaela Mayer that we love to see. I think sometimes she has, and it's very similar to what Katie Taylor's done in the past. She's just cruised by. It's never looked great. You're never going to say, oh, that was the best performance I've ever seen. They just do what they need to win. It's nice to see Mikaela in a fight where she's got herself so ready, probably the best version of Mikaela ever. I think without the belt, it doesn't really matter. I think as long as you're getting paid, and I think Mikaela gets paid pretty well from Top Rank side.
Definitely was throwbacks to Hamadouche fight, wasn't it?
But better. And I remember thinking when I'm watching it, like, this is like I was thinking like vintage Mikaela Mayer, as if she's been around for like 100 years. But it was like, because what I loved was her body work, and I thought that's what she'd done so well against Hamadouche, where she was going from them nice long jabs and then hooks to the body. And she was doing it so well. But I think she suits this weight so much better. Like, I was a little bit worried of, like, will she carry the power up with her? Because we know she's not a knockout artist, but she has power. We saw that in, like, the Hamadouche fight. But it doesn't always transfer up. I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, without a doubt, I think she suits that
And
way.
I was a little bit concerned whether she could keep up the pace for the full time rounds, having put on that
Yeah,
much weight as well.
yeah.
But absolutely no problem as well there.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, seeing on people on Twitter, like, criticizing Mikaela Mayer, like, how she looked, and I was like, it was just mad, and I was reading these comments, and it was like, some of them were, like, fat shaming, and I was like, "Do they not understand, like, she's moved up?" And I thought she looked in the best shape of her life, in my opinion. I think when you look back at her super featherweight, it's probably similar to a Terry Harper situation where they look so probably drawn out in hindsight, don't they? That actually she's got the frame for it. I thought she looked the best shape, and
Yeah.
then you had certain people, like, criticizing. I was like, "Well, how do you think she's gonna make welterweight if she doesn't gain weight?" But do you know what I mean? And you had, like, people fat shaming. I was like, "Well, she's not fat, is she? She's gained the
She's
proportional amount of muscle to make welterweight."
healthy and athletic.
Yeah, like, exactly how you would want to look as a boxer going in for a 147-pound fight. Like, it was just baffling, some of the people. And I was like, I don't know why they comment, because I'm just not convinced you know enough to be able to comment, because I just thought that was just the most bizarre things. But there was so many, and I was like, so strange, because I thought she looked great on the stick scales.
Yeah.
Thought so the Tasha Jonas, she's another example of probably was getting too drawn at super featherweight, and it was always that big controversy when Tasha moved up to 154, then Terry did. And actually these bigger weights have been probably brought out their best performances. Definitely Tasha, I think, is that was probably Tasha's best performance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the best thing she did was moving up.
Yeah. She's brought the power as well. I think she's
Mm.
been more powerful. I thought that was her best performance. Because I thought what she ended up doing well, I thought there was a couple of rounds where she got stuck on the ropes a little bit. Don't know if Joe told her off in the corner, but then after that, she was doing so well. Don't get me wrong, she took a couple on the ropes, but then was doing well to kind of bully Mikaela a little bit,
Mm.
which I was shocked by. And I think Mikaela potentially at times might not have used her height advantage and weight advantage, because I think she went in a couple of pounds a bit heavier. Um, I thought that's what Tasha's done well, kind of force herself off the ring and readjust and reset. But yeah, I've enjoyed both of them at that weight. I'd definitely like to would you like to see it again?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Will it happen?
And I think most people do, don't they? You'd like to see it again, I take it.
Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, I harp on all the time, I don't like immediate rematches.
No, you often say that, don't you?
I just don't like it, and this is like I think I'd put when it come out, obviously, Mikaela Mayer said, "If I win, I've got a rematch her," and
Mm.
I don't like that, and I think people again thought I was saying it about Tasha Jonas, because I got some comments back. And I didn't mean I don't like the fact Tasha Jonas has done it, because I know why she's done it. I don't like the culture of rematch clauses. I obviously,
Yeah.
while it's about, I understand why fighters do it, but I don't like the concept of it. And I
Mm.
think how people disagree with me, but it is equivalent to like Serena Williams in the US Open, who got disqualified. She wasn't then allowed another chance because she went in as the favourite. You don't get to just go, well, can I have another go, please? I think unless it warrants a rematch for both fighters, I don't think you should be entitled to one.
Yeah.
And then or make it consistent, because Chantal Cameron hasn't been entitled to a guaranteed rematch after losing her belt.
Yeah.
Why is it not consistent? So do you know, like, do it across the board or don't do it at all? Like, I think wait for the fight obviously to happen, because that fight could have been absolutely horrendous, like bored to tears.
Yeah.
Let's say Mikaela Mayer won every round 100-90. Why would that warrant
Yeah.
a rematch?
I agree. Like you said, it shouldn't just be an automatic thing.
No. And, like, you know, it should then go both ways. Obviously, it was an unbelievable fight. Everyone's saying fight of the year, but obviously it's only January, but I do think that'll end up being
Yeah.
fight of the year. It's one of the best fights I've got to watch. So, like, and then it's controversial. It was a split decision. The final judge gave it 96-95. It doesn't really get any closer, does it?
No, that is unbelievable, really.
So, run it back. Do you
I
think it will happen?
No, I don't think it will. I think with Tasha saying about how this is the last year of boxing, how she's got her own kind of goals as to what she wants to do. I don't think she will. I think I obviously hope so. And I think all the fans will hope so, but I just don't think she will. I think she'll move on to doing other fights.
Yeah, I think when I was sitting there, you could kind of see like Ben Shalom and Joe Gallagher, and then obviously Mikaela Mayer's in the corner doing a post-fight interview, and she obviously said about 1,000,000 times in that post-fight interview about the rematch, which is exactly what I would do. And I just got the impression by their faces, not Tasha, because I think Tasha all day would take it, but I got the impression by Ben and Joe, just kind of their face and their reaction, that they were like, no, not a chance. That's not happening, but you can keep dreaming. Which I think would be a shame.
Yeah.
With it being, I always find it interesting when, obviously, can I just say also, I've said that Tasha will retire. So I get points for that.
You say everybody's going to retire.
But I did say Tasha will retire.
Yeah.
I think I said the end of last year, but I knew it was the end of a year. So, but, you know, I always find it interesting when fighters do say they're going to retire, because it's obviously they're probably more likely to kind of plan out the rest, like her final year. How realistic do you think it is that she gets like 3 more fights in this year then for her last one?
Well, I think it's going to be her last one, maybe, because I think Boxer and Sky Sports will pull out all the stops to get her those 3 fights, because she's the big draw, isn't she, for them, a female boxer?
For them, yeah.
So
Definitely.
I think if they want to make the most of her, I think they'll pull out all the stops and do that. So yeah, potentially.
Jack doesn't think Tasha will fight again. Now, I think her stock has risen again, but I'm still not convinced how much she's getting paid, because I know she did allude to obviously the 3 minutes, and she'd do it if she was getting paid, because she still wants to be paid more. I think after that fight, her stock has risen.
Oh yeah.
But when I put on Twitter out, like, I'd love to see this again, a lot of people like, it's not going to happen. It's the last year. She'll want to unify. But I don't know how simple that'll be, because obviously Sandy Ryan's with Matchroom. Jessica McCaskill's, as I'm aware, is still with Matchroom. However, that's always a little bit up in the air. And I know she's Ivana Habazan's won the purse bids, didn't they, for that fight?
Yeah.
So that could be a potential, but I don't think it's as simple as her unify if people are under Matchroom, because I think they'll make it as tricky as possible for that to happen.
Yeah. And I think Matchroom are going to try and get, if McCaskill comes away with a win against Havazin, they'll want to match up Sandy Ryan again.
Yeah, even though Jack has just said he believes Sandy is out of contract.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if she left Matchroom then.
But because seeing as though she's not, she left a coach, didn't she, as well?
Yeah, she's in America, isn't she now? I think keeping Sandy at Matchroom makes sense, because you do have the Chantel Cameron fight. However, I'm not convinced Chantel Cameron would sign with Matchroom again, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you do have the Mikaela Mayer fight as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I would like to see for Tasha though, like if she could I'd planned it out for her. Okay, here it is. Obviously, she's just had that fight now, so obviously have a little rest, go on holiday, come back, have the rematch in April, February, March, April. The end of April we'll give her. Because you're not going to lead a long camp. They don't like balloon up, do they? So we'll go end of April for that.
Yeah.
And then what was my other plan? Oh, then have the winner of Jessica and Ivana.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, should she beat Mikaela Mayer? And then and here's the big one. Are you ready? A farewell fight against Katie Taylor in her farewell fight.
Oh, no, you still saying
So I'm retiring Katie Taylor again. But not that I want to see her retired. I love watching Katie Taylor, but I just think this is her last year. So I'm thinking like Katie Taylor, Tasha Jonas, the rematch, both of their farewells in December, and God knows where it'll be, anywhere it'll do. That's my thought process.
Sound pretty good. But the trouble is with Taylor, she has just so many options that who knows.
She does. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we don't even know what's going on. I actually don't know what's going on. I don't think the Chantel Cameron fights will happen.
Thing is, though, she's keeping those belts, isn't she? Though, so I felt like she's almost choosing the Cameron route.
Yeah. I feel like she's gonna go for like a Chris Cyborg or someone random.
Or maybe.
I just I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I'd love it because I think Chantal deserves that opportunity, but I've got a feeling, and I think I put it on Twitter, do you know what I'd love? For Chantal to sign with MVP.
Was it you saying that before? Because I was going to say this earlier. I was like, I'm sure someone said that, and I totally think she should do that.
I always say it, and I just have this, like, little suspicion as well, and then I think she should sign with MVP, which I think she should do anyway regardless.
Yeah, and
But
Amanda.
then I feel like her and Amanda should fight for that vacant lightweight belt. But obviously they've all been ordered now, but if they weren't ordered for the Caroline and Rhiannon, I would have loved that because that would have been so funny.
Because
It's a great fight.
Serrano does really respect Chantal Cameron, so I can see her putting a word in with Jake Paul over her.
Well, she's done some work, didn't she? MVP flew Chantal out, covered the I don't know if it was the Amanda fight. Oh no, it was just the Jake Paul fight, I think, the other week.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll see. Jack said she might sign with Top Rank. I definitely think she's going to do something different. She won't go to Boxer,
No,
and she 100% won't stay with Matchroom. There's just not on there for. I don't think I would say. I don't think she's being treated as well. So that'll then make things interesting and kind of that future. I mean, a Tasha Jonas, Chantal Cameron would be a big fight.
yeah,
That fight can then happen if it's on Top Rank, as can Chantal Cameron, Mikaela Mayer.
yeah,
They then become between the three of them really big fights.
they're huge fights. Yeah.
I'd quite like that. You could do like a round robin, everyone faces everyone.
Mhm.
Doesn't even matter about the belt. Genuinely think because we've all been world champions anyway, they've all held the belt. I don't even think it matters that much. When you've got fights that big, does the belt matter?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I would still fly to Vegas and watch like Chantal Cameron against Mikaela Mayer, whether there's a belt on the line or not. Like what a fight that would be.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that, actually. Sometimes you don't need those belts. You just need to know the fighters and the history and
I
yeah.
think that's it, because I think if they were that important, I mean, even look at an Amanda Serrano situation where she's vacated the WBC because she obviously is wanting them 3-minute rounds, but being undisputed is such a privilege. But I think because she's done it now, she's achieved the dream. It's on about making history in another way. And that's what she's choosing to do with the 3-minute rounds. I think kind of what Mikaela Mayer alluded to of making her own legacy, belts or not, have the big fights. I think if that's the attitude some of these fighters come in, bearing in mind, I don't think Mikaela Mayer will be around forever. I
Mm,
think I don't think she'll be 38, 39 and still fighting. I do
mm.
think we are in the last 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years of Mikaela Mayer. And that's not me making that up. That's things I swear that's things that she says. I'm not just retiring her as
But
well.
end of this year is
Everyone's retiring in 2024. We've got no one to watch anymore. And so, yeah, I think when she comes to the end of this top rank contract, and I'm sure she's got 2 years left on it,
yeah,
I don't think she'll renew with anyone. I think she'll be done. She's had a
yeah,
long, she's done a lot in the amateurs, and I don't think she's ever had the dream of being 39 and 40 and fighting.
yeah,
But I said that about Savannah Marshall as well. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll
yeah.
see.
That's true.
She's still
That's
she's still kicking about. I retired her as well. I'm not saying it anymore. But so obviously after that fight, if the rematch does happen, where does it happen?
Oh, this is tricky because obviously it's the winner's backyard, but then I just don't feel like it should be there again. Even though it should be her right, shouldn't it? Really, Tasha's right to be back in Liverpool again. UK, I definitely think UK because I just think that the bigger fights for this fight is going to be the UK because I think that's where the fan base is more. But maybe somewhere more neutral in the UK.
Yeah, I think just quickly going on to Jack. I will probably retire Jack as well. See what fights he makes. If they're not good, I'll retire Jack as well. Um, I think the fight was that good though that I feel like the M&S is too small.
Yeah,
Like it didn't. fully sell out this time round. I think there's a lot of reasons behind that, and I think again Tasha alluded to it in a post-fight interview of in Liverpool we do struggle as a city at the minute. I think financially it's quite tough for people, and I think Tasha's fan base and kind of the community she does a lot in don't have that money for tickets. I think it
Yeah.
would have been nice to potentially have made it inclusive in some way, because there's tons of boxing gyms around like the areas that she lives and she does a lot in. I'm not too sure whether like kind of what happened there, but I think that's kind of the reason it didn't sell out. I'm sure there was thousands of people in Liverpool sitting watching and they would have loved to have gone.
Yeah.
And after it being as good as it was, I think it could sell out. So for me, I think it'd be in Manchester.
Not too
But
close.
that,
Though.
yeah, it's still like a home venue, isn't it? And obviously
Yeah.
Tasha's headlined there before, but
Oh,
oh, I don't know if they do it in London. I just think Tasha is. I think it's one of them, isn't it? That you do have that advantage. I think if Mikaela would have won, I mean, to be fair, actually saying that the rematch still would probably been in the UK. But you would like to think naturally that that fighter should have a decision. But I would like to think it's outgrown the Liverpool.
Cardiff.
No, too far. It can't all be about you.
It suits me, so it's got to be there, all right?
Not Cardiff, no. I think it could sell out, like, I do think it could definitely sell out Manchester. I think it needs a good
Yeah.
undercard as well. I mean, it could probably sell out anywhere as a headline. Obviously, you are always then conscious of the undercard. This undercard was good in the sense of it really helped a lot of Liverpool fight, like, up and coming fighters, and to be fair, I think there was one lad who sold over 500 tickets, and he was on first or second or something like that, so he
Yeah.
done really well. But yeah, I think with a solid undercard as well, I can't see why that can't be headlining virtually anywhere
Yeah.
within reason in the UK. But we'll see. In the Northeast, we give a lot of tickets to the gyms. I know Jobs have had a lot for Ritson and Kelly fights. Yeah, I don't quite know what happened. I mean, I could be wrong. There might have been tons of kids in the crowd, like from gyms and stuff. I didn't get that vibe, and I hadn't heard anything from any boxing gyms around the area. I do know they'd done stuff in the build up. So I think it was a public workout. There was groups of girls from boxing gyms that got to go and meet Tasha and Mikaela, which is amazing. I'm not too sure then what happened because there were spare tickets, so I think that's quite a nice time to potentially give them out to people, but not everyone does. Yeah, so that is that if the rematch happens. If it doesn't, then what's the next step for Tasha Jonas? Is she going to look to unify?
Yeah, I think she's just going to look for the biggest payday, really, is in the biggest fight that she can make.
Which
Whoever
is
that.
Mikaela Mayer, though.
Yeah, you think so, but then, like I say, it could be anybody, not even for about.
I think though, realistically, because I don't think she's going to be able to achieve undisputed in that weight, not because of skill, because of
Yeah,
politics.
yeah.
I just think it's out the question. I don't think she's ever really mentioned becoming undisputed. I don't know if it's a dream of hers or whether she just knows it's so tough politically to get that. I've never really heard her mention it. So I do think surely last year, it's all about the money, isn't it? It's all
Yeah.
about like finishing your career with as much money as possible. And I know she'll stay in boxing after that, but this is where you're going to get some big paydays. Apart from Mikaela Mayer now, who does she get the biggest day off? Like for her purse, not necessarily the biggest fight, but her purse. Who's that?
I mean, yeah, like you say, Katie Taylor is the
But
big
is
one.
that a bigger purse than Mikaela Mayer? Because
Uh,
Katie Taylor's the privilege to fight, and I know that people don't always get paid well fighting against Katie Taylor for that reason.
I suppose it depends on how they sell that fight. If
Yeah.
she were going to be the Croke Park fight, that'd
Yeah.
be. But obviously, if it's just like an extra sort of at the end of the year or just in between kind of, not that she's an in between fight, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
in between big sort of unification or undisputed fights.
Yeah.
Then maybe not as much. So I suppose it depends on how they sell that. But yeah, I suppose if you think about it, like you say, right now that is the biggest fight because even someone like Jessica McCaskill's not going to bring in the same kind of pay.
I mean, what did their fight go for? Was it 70,000 dollars, euros, whatever, when it went to purse bids for Ivana Habazin and Jessica McCaskill. Like, Jessica's just not being backed at the minute.
No.
She's not going to make, it's one of them, isn't it? Even in the UK, Jessica McCaskill isn't a big name, is she, in the UK, really, for it to make a ton of money?
No, and I'm trying to think who else. Because Sandy Ryan's is a great fight, but he's not going to be making the big money at the moment. Like you say, it could be Chantel Cameron. That would be a big fight, but in terms of money, I'm not sure if it would be bigger. It
depends who Chantel's with, I suppose. I think if she's with Top Rank, I do think Top Rank will pay to make that fight happen. But again, like, would they want to prioritize Mikaela Mayer for that then?
Or if Jake Paul takes her on, it could be megabucks.
Yeah, then that's a different. Yeah, if she's signed with MVP, then I think that's the luxury, is that you just get to fight whoever practically, because you will just throw money at it. So like, why not? But yeah, I think if she's going to go for money and legacy equally, it's got to be the rematch, and then potentially look at, like I say, I know she's always wanted the Katie Taylor rematch. The Chantel Cameron would be massive, huge domestic clash, both former Team GB. Like, that's a big sell. Obviously, if Chantal was to sign with Top Rank, it makes it even easier to sell. So there's a lot of options, I think, but yeah, it'd be interesting. What do you want to see Mikaela Mayer do next?
The rematch. That'd be my Wow, I'd quite like to see Sandy Ryan versus Mikaela Mayer. I'd like to see that fight.
Who wins?
Do you know what? That's a 50-50 again for me, to be honest. Because I feel like Mikaela Mayer's obviously the seasoned pro. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, she's done so much in amateurs, and now in pro she's done a lot. Whereas I feel like Sandy Ryan's obviously still up and coming. So whether that's a little bit unfair almost on Sandy, I feel like Sandy Ryan does need to get more of her, get more fights under her belt, more built up before she takes on some of these like a legacy type fights.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Sandy Ryan is a special fighter. I do think we haven't seen the best of her.
Yeah.
So perhaps not see that just yet. Maybe later on down the line.
Yeah.
Good. But equally, if it happened now, I wouldn't say no. McCaskill. I would quite like to see McCaskill Mayer. I think that'd be an interesting matchup. I think Mayer wins that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Mikaela Mayer announced that she was moving up. That was so silly to say. I thought that we didn't even have to say that.
But because McCaskill, to be fair to McCaskill, she's always underrated, and she's been, phenomenal in what she's done in her, in her weight category.
Yeah, but she's tapering off, isn't she now?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I remember when Mikaela Mayer first announced she was like moving up, and her plan was to, I think her plan was to gradually step up the weights, and obviously that's not how boxing works. And I remember messaging her saying, would you just go straight to 147 for Jessica McCaskill? And at the time she said she wouldn't jump straight to 147, but she would love to fight Jessica McCaskill. And I think Jessica's had some kind of negative words to say about Mikaela Mayer in the past. I don't know if they have a lot of respect for each other, so it'd be quite a nice fight, but all day. I mean, I'd put it out there, I'd have Mayer stopping Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah, I think you're right. But like, who doesn't have beef with just McCaskill and Rick Reynolds? It feels like they have beef with everybody.
Rude to everyone. Do you remember in that interview where Jessica McCaskill sat and went through the top 10 pound for pound and just slated everyone? I think apart from Katie Taylor or something. I think she's probably Katie Taylor as well.
Yeah. Well, they've just got married, haven't they?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm blocked. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Do you remember I spotted they were engaged when she was covering something on the TV?
Yes.
And I saw the ring. I was like, got ya.
Yeah.
That's when they were our friends. Oh, congratulations to them. Very exciting times. They actually seem very nice together, to be fair.
They do, yeah. No, yeah, we wish them all the best, obviously. And with have you seen that Kay Reese? I've seen that she's been doing some training. So obviously she's doing a lot of her acting at the moment. She's like a Hollywood actor now with Jodie Foster, isn't she?
I get so excited when I see her on a billboard as if she's my best mate. When I met her a few times, I'm like, Kay Reese, that. telling everyone.
Like, what?
I'm just so excited for her.
Like, literally watching the episode, I'm like, it's Kaylee.
I've not even watched it. I do need to. I'm so excited to watch it. But I'm one of them, like, I want like the perfect evening. I want like my candles on. I want like a good hour of just being able to sit and watch the first episodes.
Quite spooky.
Is it?
Yeah.
Watch over daytime. But no, I'm so excited. I'd love to see her back in the ring as well.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I've seen some posts where they're saying that she's doing some training. So hopefully some of her sort of health issues have been cleared up a bit and she can, get back to training and see where the land lies with that. But it's great just to even see a bit doing some training, to be honest, even if she doesn't sort of get back to proper fighting. It's,
Yeah, exactly.
She loves boxing, part of it, because obviously being married to Brian and being in the corner of fighters. So
I love seeing them two together as well, and I like the work that they do, and obviously seeing them in the corner and stuff like that. They are a bit of a dream team, to be fair, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's good to watch. Someone has put, or Jack has put Baumgartner 2. I'm gonna put it like, it does make me laugh though how Alicia was like, no, not rematching her, no, and now obviously controversial. I think she's been cleared by WBC so far, hasn't she?
Yeah, I reckon the rest will just fall in line behind, because I can't imagine they've done their own investigations.
Yeah, but obviously now she would fight. I mean, Alicia is just fighting anyone. She's fighting Clarissa Shields, who were best mates 2 minutes ago, and now they're fighting. Like, I don't know whether she's got to the point where, obviously, if she is innocent, it's horrendous, because I think her reputation has been tarnished. But obviously now she's got to the point where there'll be people that probably won't be interested in fighting her at the minute, because I think her stock has went down. And that is where I think next thing it's a bit of a panic, where she's like calling out Clarissa.
Yeah.
And that turned ugly quite quick, didn't it? That went like straight away. They don't like each other. I think she said she would have the Mikaela Mayer rematch after saying she wouldn't bother.
Yeah, because she said she'd fight Tasha. She tweeted that, didn't she?
I think she'll fight anyone, to be fair.
Yeah. Because like you say, she just wants to get back out there.
I think she needs to kind of get back out. If she is innocent, I would love her to get back out and just shake it off. Because it must be horrendous having then your reputation tarnished, because that is a massive thing to be tarnished with. You are classed as a drugs cheat. So I think what needs to be done is a bit of a quicker process, though, of kind of saying she's innocent or she's guilty and then move on from it there. Because the longer it goes on for and drags on, the more speculation. Obviously, she's been cleared by one so far. So she's got loads of options. I just don't know, like, Mikaela Mayer suits 147. I don't know if I'd like, the only time I'd probably like to see her go lower is for Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
I think aside from that, I like 147 for her. So, but would Baumgartner go up to 147?
Well, that's it. I would say that Baumgartner would have to come up and do what suits Mikaela or Tasha or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like you say, her stock's gone down, so she's going to have to do the moving.
Yeah. But she's challenged Clarissa. She's so teeny tiny, Alicia Baumgartner. I say it all the time. Like, when I've met her in real life, she is so teeny tiny. How many weights can she go up? If anything, I thought she'd be chasing the lower weight. I thought she'd be looking at WBC. I'm reading a comment. Super featherweight.
Yeah.
Looking for that like Amanda fighter. So I'd love that one. Alicia or Amanda. That'd be.
You're right. I think Dan would be good.
The
beef between her and Clarissa, because obviously they were quite good friendly before. I just thought, it's fake beef. Beef, giving both attention. But I do think it's genuinely turned ugly now, because that sort of little spat on the did turn a bit.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I think all Alicia said was that she would like to fight Clarissa. And I think Clarissa kind of jumped on it. And at that time, I was like, "Oh, are they already selling this fight?" And I thought, "There's no way," because that fight, I wouldn't want to see that. There's a disparity in weights. There's just too much for that to ever be enjoyable. And I was like, "This is odd." And now I just genuinely think that Clarissa was pissed off that Alicia kind of called her out, and then you've had murder now. They're kicking off at each other, and then they were on the same plane. The money I would have paid for a ticket on that plane to just sit and watch. But yeah, so you got Mikaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgardner. That sells. That headlines. You could probably put that anywhere, and people would pay a lot of money. Another good shout: Terry Harper versus Mikaela Mayer at welterweight. This is a fight that I have wanted since they were both at super featherweight. Kind of glad it didn't happen because I don't think it would have been the best version of each other at that weight.
Yeah.
Now I think it would be, but well, I mean, we've not seen Terry fight at welterweight, but I think that weight would suit her
Yeah.
because she's not a natural 154, is she? And she doesn't. I don't know what she weighs in, but it's definitely not near 154. So that'd be good. And that's a fight that's what I'm on about, where I don't even think you need a belt.
No, I think that'll definitely sell, and that'll be hilarious. The build up and the fight week is just going to be entertaining in itself.
I think they both like each other though and got a lot of respect, but I think they have good banter, which will make it funny. I don't think it'll be any like cringy, like gonna knock you out in round 2 and all that.
No.
I think they'll just, I'm sure, they've watched each other's performances. I'm sure they'll have a couple of digs, at stages in each other's careers. I think it would be quite entertaining. But again, styles make fights. I think them two would bring out the best in each other.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking about UK because it would sell.
Oh yeah.
But then again, you've got like Terry's home near enough home of like Sheffield. But then it's always Mikaela Mayer who's having to fight outside of her home. But I think that's the unfortunate thing of Top Rank have invested in her, but not in America. So that's just the way the cookie's going to crumble, I think, for Mikaela, isn't it, really, for these big fights?
Again, it could come to Cardiff, just saying.
Why? Why would it go to Cardiff apart from you being there? Like, what benefit is that to the rest of us?
Neutral.
No one wants to fight in Cardiff, Suzy. No one. It's too bloody far. And the car park is horrendous at that arena, because once I went to watch AJ fight a good few years ago, and I lived in Nottingham at the time, and it took me 3 hours to get out of the car park.
Oh.
Well, I didn't get home till 6.
If it was a huge fight, you could do the Millennium Stadium and then do Park and Ride.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening. Someone said Baumgardner should fight Pursoon. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Bit of me, that fight. Bit of me. I love Delphine Pursoon. I don't quite get how she's in people's top 10, pound for pound. Not because I don't rate her. I just think of recent years, like apart from the Katie Taylor fight, she's struggled, hasn't she, opponent-wise?
Yeah.
Like get big opponents and stuff. That's no like Pursoon, an active Pursoon against big fighters is top 10, but I don't quite get how she slots into people's top 10.
I'm pretty sure she had some good win recently. Didn't she fight someone else from South Korea who was in the top 5?
Still not top 10 pound for pound.
It was Bo Shin. And she was really good fight. That was I'm pretty sure she gosh, I'd have to do my research now, but I'm pretty sure she beat her, and that was a really good win. But it was just really under the radar kind of fight.
Yeah, a lot of Delphines are, aren't they? She's actually quite active. I just don't think she's getting them big names or the world titles to kind of slide her into that top 10 pound for pound. But because the last one that went under the radar was when she punched. Who did she fight? And she punched
Ikram. What was her name? Ikram.
Come on, Jack, you should know that.
It was something Ikram, wasn't it?
I don't know, but that was like my last like memory of Delphine Pursoon kind of name being out and about.
Something.
We'll come back to you.
Jack, come on, Jack.
I know. Jack has said me against Baumgardner. You know what? Alicia likes me too much to knock me out. I'd hope. Don't think she's that mean. Alicia was cleared by the WBO at the convention in October, which was when everyone was anticipating she was going to be stripped by that belt, and that kind of changed. Let's see. Cardiff. Has someone put Cardiff? May as well be in Plymouth. See, it's just too far.
Not that
Here
far.
we go.
Oh, that's right. Ikram.
Well done. And Jack got it.
Thank you, Jack.
There we go. But yeah, so there's some the big fight for either, isn't there? So it's not like the end of the world for Jonas or Mikaela. Well, definitely
No,
not for Mikaela Mayer either, is it?
no,
Who obviously hasn't got away
stock
with the belt.
way high for both. And women's boxing's again one to
Yeah.
showcase such a great fight.
Yeah, 100%. We'll quickly talk about, I don't know if you got to watch it, did you? The Karis Arton stall fight.
No, I didn't get to watch.
I thought that was a little bit controversial. I kind of haven't been brave enough to put anything on Twitter. But this is a safe space, so I'm going to share it. But obviously Karis got a knockdown in round 1, but the bell had gone.
Huh?
And it's quite clearly gone to me. But I thought the bell had gone, and then she knocks her down, and the corner of I can't pronounce the other girl's name. I'm not even going to try because it's just borderline offensive when I can't get it right.
Harder.
But it can't be that simple. I reckon I'd get that.
Harder, but she's got lots of names. And then
Yeah, that's it. So I don't. So anyway, her went back to a corner. Obviously, corner furious, and she was properly rocked. Like she was wobbling back to a corner. I was like, oh god, this doesn't look good. Struggled again in round 2 then because I think she was still feeling the effects of the knockdown. The bell goes to end round 2, and again, but this was even more obvious. Karis still throws after the bell.
Oh.
To the point where then when she comes back in for round 3, the ref has had like a stern word and like sent her to the other corner, and they've been able to continue. And then her opponent has started coming into her own a little bit and looked dangerous. With the knockdown, it was scored as well. So obviously Karis got that 10-8 round. I'll be honest, I don't think that should have counted as a 10-8 round. I'm very convinced. And the fact that the ref had a stern word with that because she'd done it twice. Thank you, Jack. And that, with Karis not getting the 10-8 round, that potentially sways the fight a little bit then as well. Because it ended up being incredibly close on the scorecards. It was, yeah, I don't think Karis was awfully happy with the performance. But it was close. But her opponent brings it like that, and they're the fights Karis needs. I think she's been in the ring with Raven Chapman as well before. They are the fight. They're like the good step up fight she needs. But I think Karis would have learned a lot from that because there was a lot of rounds I think she either made a little bit hard work of or she lost them. But yeah, I was a little bit shocked that it happened.
I'm gonna have to watch that now and watch it back.
Yeah, and I was right. I didn't want to say this. I wasn't 100% sure. So the knockdown, because she won by 1 point.
Yeah.
That knockdown is one of the fights. But if it's come after the bell, it shouldn't be counted as a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd have to. I mean, that's when I've watched it live. I know the second round was 100% after. The first one, I don't know whether she was like in motion throwing as the bell's gone, but still a little bit. I don't know. But she won. That's all that matters, and everyone was safe. But I think she still needs a good couple of fights. Now that was an 8-rounder.
Yeah.
You just kind of look at how the speed of the other girls in that division have gone, like Sky and Raven. Like, Karis isn't on to a 10-rounder yet. She's not fought for a title yet, has she?
No.
I just feel like they need to pick up the pace for her a little bit.
Yeah, get her out more frequently. I mean, do we know what's happening with the Olympics as well? Is is she and Lauren still in for the Olympics, or is that not happening now? So I've not heard anything, and it's this year now. So
I've not heard anything. In a way, like I kind of hope they are, because the pro career has been a little bit like staggered for me and slow paced, even compared to like Caroline Dubois turned over the same time and she's an IBO world champion.
yeah.
Karis hasn't done a 10-rounder yet. Like it's just been a little bit slow paced for me for Karis and Lauren. I mean, Caroline's like the golden girl, isn't she? And we know she's getting super pushed. But I thought the idea was, I mean, you've got 3 Olympians there. One a bronze medal, one a gold medal. Like to not be pushing them as equally as, I mean, Caroline's was obviously a ridiculous talent as well. But I don't know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So my only logic can be is that they're taking the time because they're going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
To then kind of regroup after the Olympics and then look for them titles. But
who knows?
I don't know. It's an odd one.
If not, like you say, they need to get her out more and get it like they did with Match we're doing with Sky. Just get tons of fights.
Fight every single week.
Do you know what I mean? But then, you know, there's something to be said about that. It's like Mia Motto in New Zealand. Doing any fight she could. And look at her now, you know, she's got so much ring experience as a pro now.
But it gets you also, like, look, Sky is now mandatory for the vacant world title. No, she is mandatory for the. Is it the world title now, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's it is, isn't it? Yeah. She will. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So she is now mandatory for the vacant WBC world title in featherweight because she's done them fights.
Which, if rumour has it, she's going to now, because she was meant to be fighting Sarah Mahfood for it. But there's been cryptic messages, hasn't there, from Steffi Bull talking about world title coming up, shot for Raven. So it's got me thinking, could it be that now Raven's going to step in and it's going to be Raven versus Sky for that title?
On the Saudi card where it's Matchroom versus Queensberry.
Well, that would be a dream, wouldn't
it? I mean, I was saying, like, because it's going to be 5 fights, isn't it, on that Matchroom versus Queensberry. And straight away I was like, they have to put a female fight on that because I think is Ramla Ali the first to do a Saudi fight, and it wasn't. I think she won, didn't she, in round 2 or something like that. You know, there needs to be if obviously boxing is going to Saudi, which it is, like a lot of sports, you need to start showcasing the women as well.
Yeah,
especially in somewhere like Saudi, because I think the trouble that could happen is if Saudi keep going at the rate they're going at with all these mega fights and there's no women on it, I do genuinely believe that'll just be the culture of it. I really think very quickly we need to start showcasing the women that Matchroom have, Queensberry have, whoever else have to go on there. So that would be a big one. Then we'd have to fly over for that one. Hoping that'd be in the UK. It's a bit far, isn't it? Never really fancy going to Saudi.
Now that's far.
Like, I'd still pick Saudi over Cardiff, to be fair.
Do you know what? I know I've been joking about it, but actually, I've reading between the lines, I feel like they're going to give Lauren Price like almost like a homecoming fight in Cardiff this year. So I think there might end up being a big card that she can sort of be on in Cardiff. So we'll wait and see if that happens.
You can go to that one.
Honestly. I think anyway, which I think would be good for her.
Is this because you've been messaging Ben Shalom going, can you please put something back on in Cardiff?
Yeah.
I'm waiting really patiently.
He's so sick of me. He's like, go on then.
Just put anything on. He's put you on as main event. Yeah, I mean, let's hope the Sky and Raven one isn't in Cardiff. Let's get that one in Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi would be amazing. I mean, otherwise, if it's not in Saudi, they're saying Australia, aren't they? So, which...
Oh, I'm not going there. That is a little bit far. I mean, I wouldn't mind. When I've got time to go for 6 weeks for a holiday, I'll definitely go, but that's a little bit far. Yeah, obviously, Sky just done some press stuff, hadn't she, in Australia?
Yes.
Yeah, that's got to be the fight, hasn't it? Sky and Raven. That's the fight that we want to see now. It's the fight that we want to see in 18 months, and it's the fight we want to see in like 3 years, and just keep building on it.
Because I'm trying to think what other fight that they could mean, you know, Steffi Bull. I mean, the only other person, obviously, is Amanda Serrano. Could she be willing to fight on that Saudi card? Because they put that to her, didn't they? Do you remember Stuart, Raven's coach?
Yeah.
Did a message on Twitter saying, Amanda, we could put you on 3-minute rounds, 12 3-minute rounds in Saudi Arabia against Raven. Just let us know. And she's like, well, you've got to talk to my people. And that was that. So I'm thinking, could it even be that? Because, I mean, what an opportunity for Amanda as well, really, to be in Saudi showcasing boxing.
Yeah. I don't see it, but
you never know.
You never know. You never know. Stranger things have happened. I mean, to be fair, I think Amanda now will just wants them 12 threes. A lot of fighters say they will do it, but then not a lot of fights are happening at 12 threes. So I know it's not that simple, but equally, I know everyone's like, yeah, I'll do 12 threes. But then when Amanda Serrano's offering you it, you're a bit like, not against you, though. I'll do it against someone else. So maybe she'll just jump at anyone who'll do 12 threes with her.
Yeah.
While we're quickly on that, though, that's what I wanted to ask before about the Mikaela Mayer Tasha Jonas fight. Mikaela would want the rematch at 12 threes.
Mm.
Would you?
I'm a fan of 3-minute rounds. I would like it to move to 3-minute rounds because I just feel like these it would iron out some of these controversies, because I think it'd give you those longer rounds to decide who the winner is. It would sort out who's the best fighter, in my opinion. But I'm not a fan of just plucking it out here, there, and everywhere. I think it's an all or nothing approach. I don't feel like some fighters should, because it's getting to the point where some fighters are going to use it to their advantage, and I don't think that's fair. They've been fighting at 2-minute rounds the whole career, and then just to suddenly at the end go, you've got to do 3 minutes. I just think that's really unfair to put pressure on someone like that. It makes it a completely different fight. So to match and have a completely different fight, I don't necessarily think that's fair.
But for me though, that the fight that Saturday was so good because of the pace. It was literally just non-stop action. Like, they didn't come up for air at times. Like, it was just unbelievable. Very similar to Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Very similar to the first Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron fight. Just non-stop action. And I know it's a little bit tougher to score, but I'd rather see them fight. And when it is controversial, rematch eventually than 3 minutes. And what Mario's just put, what I always say, 12 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
I don't get why it's only 10. That genuinely blows my mind. I don't know any. I understand the science out to why it's 2 minutes and not 3 minutes, and I do believe the science. It makes sense to me. Whether though we'll look back in like 20 years and laugh and go, "Oh my God, we used to think women couldn't do 3-minute rounds." I do believe the logic behind the concussions and things like that. But it is what it is with that side. I think they just need to put more money into it and genuinely just find out. I mean, it's not, it's as simple as that for that aspect. But I don't get the logic between only doing 10 rounds. And that, to me, if we are eventually going to get to 12 threes, there's no science saying that women can't do 12 twos. So why can't we do that as a whole, like consistent from now on? That is what you get up to. And then put some proper money into research. Because equally, it could genuinely have a risk. I'm not saying it does, but let's say it does, and like no one's being asked to do proper research, and then everyone's just gone, "Oh, I fancy doing 12 threes now because I want to be the same as the men," and then it could be detrimental. Like, put proper research into it, like I'm sure they would for a lot of other things. And then come to that decision as a whole, where every governing body would have to agree. But I think aside from that, I think 12 twos for now.
And also that would build it up as well, because to jump from 10 twos to 12 threes is a big jump.
Madness. There's such a jump, isn't it? Like, and then it's a bit like, and I always say, like, I don't know if I say you were a pro and you were 4 fights in, like, what do you do now? What is the point in then doing 8 2-minute rounds if in like 2 fights you're going to do 12 threes? Like, do you then go, well, I want 3-minute rounds now, and start doing 6 threes and 8 threes? Do you then not go down the WBC route because you're never going to be able to do that? So it's so complex.
Really complex.
That I do get a little bit irritated when even fighters like, let's just do 12 threes. And I'm like, well, it's not that fucking easy, is it? Because everyone would have been doing it by now. There's so much complexity. And like you say, it needs to be consistent, because being a young fighter coming through and you've spent the last 2 years as a prospect doing 2-minute rounds up to 10, and then you're going to get a world title fight and it's going to be 12 threes. That's just genuinely ludicrous to me. That's like just saying in, like, I don't know, football, right, we're just going to add another hour because you've made it to the Champions League final. We just decided today that we're going to do, like, you wouldn't, like, what other sport, like going to tennis, you're playing 10 sets today, not 5. You don't just randomly pluck things out of thin air and go, well, that's what I'm doing today. Like, how many...
Which I think is dangerous. You then going, oh, I know what, I could have an advantage doing that, so I'm going to push for the...
But it's what I mean, like, it makes no sense. And I'm not a fan of when, like, and a couple of fighters have done it now, they're sitting in a press conference, everything's been signed for, like, you're at the press conference for the fight. It has been signed, and they go, let's do 12 threes, and it's like, well, we know that's not going to happen. So don't bring it into conversation for this fight.
And it's unfair on that fighter that you put on the spot then, because that fighter can't go, yes, of course I'll do it. They can't put there and say that.
But a fight's being signed though. Anyway, do you know what I mean? And like, you're getting people like a week out going, shall we do 12 threes? Well, like, no, let's not. That's just ridiculous. Like, what's the point? So I don't know. It just annoys me a little bit, and I do just think like let's be consistent, especially like if you're looking at the future of boxing. I think that's the issue of boxing. Sometimes it's a little bit too in the now, and we don't potentially look at the longevity of the sport and probably
Mm.
look after these fighters coming through. Especially when it is something as important as like people's health and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
why don't when you've got these top boxers and like how much are all these like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and that going to make in Saudi? Why doesn't everyone take a tiny percentage off their purse and invest it
Mm.
into research? Like, it's
Yeah.
just madness. But yeah, I can't. I'm gonna just stop listening when people go, "Let's do 12 threes," and it's 2 days before fight night because that just if I was a fighter, it just proper piss me off. That be like, don't be so ridiculous. Um. Yeah, but I think and then what else is coming up, Susie? I think did you say, there's a potential fight?
Yeah, so Boxing Scene have released the news that they think Sinisa Estrada is going to fight Yukasta Val on the 29th of March. They think in Arizona.
Ooh,
For
yeah.
Undisputed, which is like the fight that we've all been waiting for and be a dream fight. So I hope this is going to actually come to something and actually happen. And what's interesting is because we never knew what promotion it'd be on, because obviously Yukasta Val's under Golden Boy, which Sinisa Estrada was under, and then they've split and got so much bad blood there as well.
Toxic, yeah.
But it's rumoured that it's going to be on a Top Rank card, and it'll be like a co-main. And they mentioned the male fighters, but I don't remember who they are.
Needs to be big
That's
headline, won't it, for that to be, because that's a big fight. So the headline must be big for Sinisa to be co-main.
yeah.
It's a big fight.
The names, because like I said, for me it was all about looking at
Yeah, it's all about them too, for sure.
about,
Massive fight though.
yes, so it'll be for all the belts. Obviously, already Estrada has the Ring Magazine belt, but it'll also be lineal because it's number 1 versus number 2. And I can't wait because what a lot of trash talk's gone on between them. But my only little thing is that Sinisa obviously had her operation. She hasn't had a warm-up fight since that, so to jump straight into that's very brave of her. But if she thinks she can do it,
And then when you've waited that long for a fight, if you pass up on it now, when do
yeah,
you get the chance again? It's one of them, isn't it? Sometimes you have to just, I think, take it and hope for the best, don't you?
yeah,
And it might be rematch clauses in there as well if it's put undisputed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's
mm,
going to be a good fight, definitely. I love watching Sinisa Estrada. The only boxer who doesn't need a jab to win. Like, it's unreal. To lead with a left hook constantly, outrageous. It's so good to watch.
it's amazing to watch, isn't she?
I remember watching her last fight in the comms. It must have been a stablemate of hers. And you were like, been working on that jab. I think after round 1, she was like, no, I'm not into this. And just started throwing that left hook. I mean, it just works. Like, it's so nasty, that left hook. It lands every time. And it was kind of then like a hybrid of this like jab, but then she'd like swing in for the hook at the last minute. Loved it. So I actually love watching Sinisa Estrada. I'm excited for that one. Who wins?
Oh my gosh. I didn't even want to say because it's such a big, like it's one of those fights where it could go, it's kind of 50-50 in a way, but I'm probably leaning towards Sinisa Estrada. I just feel like she's got the more consistent form over time. I know Yukasta Val's done brilliantly recently in the last few fights,
Yeah.
but Estrada's had the more consistent wins, the more consistent form. I think it's just her style of fighting as well. It's a different matchup of styles as well, isn't it? Like you say, kind of that come forward, doesn't jab, just go for it. Whereas
Yeah.
Val can be, she is aggressive. She can come forward, but she uses her reach a lot more. Uses it more. So it's who can win that war, I guess. Can Sinisa come in onto the inside? Can
Yeah.
Val go out of reach? I think Sinisa's going to edge that. What about you?
Probably the same, I'd say. Yeah. And I think it will come down to who can kind of implement their strength. But again, like, I think it'll be close. It'll be really close. I think there'll be a lot of rounds, but I think again it'll be another fight where the momentum will constantly change it'll kind of be all down to them first couple of seconds of the round, like who can kind of stamp their authority in it, keep the pace up for that round, do like dictate it. But then as soon as you come back out for the next round, it's like you're restarting every time, aren't you? That's a good thing. It's a good thing about them styles as well. Like that will clash quite nicely, though. I think.
Yeah, I
I'm
think so.
excited.
Be
I'm
interesting.
excited. Let's hope that is officially announced. Then, 'cause that will be a good one.
Yeah,
Should we
definitely.
fly to Arizona for that one?
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe. Arizona's actually on my list as well. I've got a list of places. Like I love America, don't I? So I've got a list of states I've still not been. Arizona is one of them. That'd be quite a good excuse, actually.
Yeah.
Like pop to
Like,
Arizona. Watch
like
the
do a bit of
fight.
a tour of the the county or county state. I know what I'm talking about.
I might do that. I might add that to the list. Add that to the vision board. And then final thing we have to talk about, obviously, because Katie Taylor vacated the belts.
Yeah.
Do we think so? Obviously, there's a bit of a triangle going on. If it is Caroline Dubois against Rhiannon Dixon, who wins?
My goodness. I think it all comes down to who's on it on the night, to be honest, because again, it's a different style matchup, isn't it? Oh,
Big ask for Rhiannon. I love Rhiannon Dixon, by the way. I just think she's one or two fights behind Caroline in the sense of kind of
yeah.
not ability, but just probably experience.
Mhm.
And I know the amateurs isn't the same as the pros, but there are aspects to kind of like Dubois with the limelight, the bit, all of that side. Probably outside of the ring, Caroline's got more experience.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd probably, but again, it's one of them. I wouldn't be mad to see it soon, and then that'll
Yeah.
be a rivalry for years to come. I think that fight or them fighters together.
This obviously Dubois has got, masses of skill, power, you name it. But what Dixon's so good at, I mean, she's got her own power obviously as well, but she's so good with the footwork
Yeah,
and getting, when she sort of comes around them and sort of sidesteps and comes, if she fine-tune that even more, I'd give her a shot,
yeah.
against, do you know what I mean? On top form like that.
I think in a couple of fights, it's 50-50. I just think it's not a next fight for Rihanna.
Yeah.
But I know Eddie Hearn then. I wasn't overly convinced it'd happen. I'd like it to happen because it's one of them, like, even if Dubois wins, like I always say, like in 12 months' time, you never know what's going to happen. It's great to have them rematches. Obviously, then Eddie Hearn come out and said that Rhiannon Dixon's been ordered for the other belt. So it's the WBO as well that she's been ordered for. So it looks like she's going to go down that route. Caroline Dubois will go down the IBF route against Beatrice potentially.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Or I think Boxer will then pull Caroline out of that one.
Mm.
So I think we could have this really good triangle and not see any of the fights happen, which is classic in boxing.
Because who'd be in line against Rhiannon Dixon then for that belt? Do we know?
Jack, do we know? I actually don't know that.
Because
I
there's a
don't
few.
know. I knew for the IBF.
If you look at the list, there's a few. Because there's there's an Argentinian fighter, so it could be her, but I don't know. Depends on who they.
Yeah. I think
fight.
it'll be an easier opponent than Caroline for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, it's one of them. I don't know. I think it's a shame though, because this is the problem then when this starts to happen. And I do think it'll be a situation where we could have had a Dixon Dubois or a Dubois Beatrice Ferreira, and we'll see none of them happen. And then you just know it's going to be a bit of a slog now for the next 12, 18 months to make them fights happen. Sometimes I'm like, just bite the bullet. Like, don't be frightened to lose that 0. And like I would say, then you've got they're both young fighters. I mean, Caroline's exceptionally young.
Yeah.
Rhiannon, I don't know how old Rhiannon is. She's like mid-20s, a little bit old, like 27 or something.
Yeah.
Still, not got a lot of miles on the clock at all, Rhiannon. They've got years in the sport. They could fight 3, 4, 5 times against each other in their career if you start now. But when they kind of get like shielded and it doesn't happen, I don't know, it just ends up being a bit flat then, doesn't it? Because the division's got the potential to be really good, that lightweight division.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it's all completely fragmented for ages.
Yeah. And then they all end up fighting you know, whoever they end up fighting, it's not always people who should be
Yeah.
fighting for the belts as well. And then they'll fight the mandatory and they're never big fights. So it ends up going from the potential of the lightweight being because Katie Taylor's dominated it for that long. It would be so nice to see this rivalry between 3 up and coming fighters. And then we'll potentially not see any of it. And obviously you've always got the threat of some like Alicia Baumgardner moving up into it.
Yeah.
Chantel moving down into it, you know, Mikaela moving down into it. So you've got the potential of a great division, but I've just got the feeling that not on particularly is going to happen over the next like 12-ish months with her.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see.
Could be wrong. I've been wrong once or twice before.
They might all retire.
That is it. Well, I didn't want to say anything, but that's why I want to see Caroline Dubois and Rhiannon Dixon, because they're going to retire at the end of the year. So we need to see that next. Equally, I'm going to retire at the end of the year from everything I do. And I'm also going to retire a couple of other people. Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that out there. He'll be retired soon.
Bob Arum.
So I think Bob Arum will be going for years to come. I actually think Eddie will retire before Bob Arum. He's not going anywhere, is he? But yeah, I feel like that's it for this week. But definitely, I think everyone should tune back in next week to see who I've retired. See who I've got my eye on. This Jessica McCaskill retire this year.
The cliffhangers. Who will you predict?
Each week I'll pick a different person that's going to retire at the end of the year. Might even pick a prospect. Lacey Rose Courtney retiring. No, she's not. She's too good. I'm excited for her. But yeah, we'll potentially could be back next week. Well, hopefully, I know Terry Harper's got fight news coming soon.
Yeah.
Raven Chapman. Maybe this week some fight news will drop as well. That'll be good.
And this weekend there is the a world title fight. Gabriela Fundora, who's going to be fighting on Golden Boy show, defending her world title at flyweight against Christina Cruz, who is friends with Mikaela Mayer because they're around that kind of the same Team USA amateurs days.
Yeah.
So she is highly experienced. So it's going to be a great fight, actually, I think.
I like Christina Cruz.
That many pro fights. She's got that huge amateur experience. So and just like a phenomenal talent, just like her brother. And obviously, if she gets through this against Christina, the person that's got all the other belts is Marlon Esparza.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
We love that fight.
So one to tune in for, to see, you know,
where she's at.
That as to whether we're going to get this mega fight with Marlon or not.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a good one. We'll take that one. That'd be big.
And it'll be on DAZN, so.
Yeah. Brill. Tune in for that one. What day is that? Saturday?
I think so. I haven't double checked, but.
Oh, it'll be a silly time as well.
It's America. I'm not sure whereabouts in America. But...
I might have to watch it the next day. You know what I'm like?
It's bed at 9, isn't it?
I get all cranky past 9. I know it's already a bit late, so we'll have to go. But right. Thank you for everyone. Thank you everyone for the comments as well. Thank you to Jack, who's always very knowledgeable when we definitely aren't at times.
Yep.
Good to have Jack on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Right. See you all next week.
Yes. Bye.